Look, I am sorry. You let me know that I'm on the verge of being banned for violating your community guidelines. And I want you to know, I sincerely apologize for the violation. I want to make this right. Facebook, you provide tremendous support for creators like me in creating meaningful, positive content. But I unfortunately made a huge mistake of exercising free speech and trying to help people better their lives. I now realize both of these things are in direct violation of your community guidelines. My only explanation for my actions is that my parents raised me wrong. I grew up believing that helping people was a good thing. And my parents also raised me to believe that exercising free speech, which is a constitutional right in the country that you're based in, is a constitutional thing to do. To help me grow towards having the kind of integrity that you embody, I pledge to you that I will ban my parents from my life starting today. That's my commitment to you, Facebook. I'm sorry I violated your community guidelines. I now realize that truth is a direct violation of them. And I promise I will never speak any of it on your platform ever again, in hopes of growing into a stronger person who's allowed to stay on your platform. Accordingly, Facebook, I solemnly pledge to only speak about things that are in accordance with the mainstream narrative that's currently destroying our country. And I will not encourage people to free themselves from the fear of a disease that's currently terrorizing the world with a 99.98% survival rate. And I will not suggest that there's proven treatments for the disease that are highly effective for the people who do get it. And I won't mention how you've censored doctors on your platform from speaking about such treatments, because none of which have anything to do with a needle full of an experimental cocktail of a DNA-altering substance. Facebook, with your threat to ban me from your platform, you also mentioned that if I publish a correction statement to my audience with corrected information from your fact checkers, that it would help my standing with regard to being able to stay on your platform. Well, Facebook, I would be glad to deceive my audience, manipulate their thinking, and disempower them with your fact checkers' facts that are based on your political agenda. You've strong-armed me with fear into betraying my audience because I'm afraid to be kicked off your platform. Well, you know what? That's the kind of leader I want to be to my audience. One who bows down out of fear in the face of tyranny. So I'll do it, because I know I'm nothing without you, Facebook. I'm scared enough to believe that. So here goes. Dear audience, I'm sorry that I shared my thoughts with you. I never should have done that. And you should be terrified. It's not okay to live free from fear. Do not think for yourself. Keep your businesses shut down. It's good for you. And do not let your children play with other children. And don't you dare risk any level of self-responsibility with your health and well-being. And for God's sakes, do not risk any level of human connection. Humans are bad for the human race. Trust me, I'm a leader. A leader who aspires to uphold the values of the great leader of Facebook. I hope that was a good enough correction for you, Facebook. It felt empowering to be less authentic with my audience and more aligned with what you stand for. And finally, Facebook, as a comedian, I can tell you that your censorship is great for comedy. There's a comedic principle called truth in comedy, which means there has to be at least some truth in order to give rise to comedy, and therefore to make people laugh and smile. And your dedication to censoring truth takes the truth out of comedy. And therefore, you also take the comedy out of comedy. And I think that's good for comedy and good for humanity. Because we all know that comedy is a pandemic harming humanity. But Facebook, if you can just inoculate enough people with your control, then you'll be protecting all of humanity from comedy and truth. Facebook, please accept my sincerest apologies and regret for violating your ever-changing community guidelines. I stand with the rest of humanity in knowing we don't need you, you need us. I mean, you don't need us, we need you, because we're nothing without you. I hope that's clear. I also hope you can get the Facebook community guidelines to eventually replace the Constitution of the United States, because the Constitution is in direct violation of your community guidelines. Thank you, Facebook. And you